like chilly fall football weather, but we promise it is the second week of spring practice for the Bulldogs. To help me break it down, I'm joined by my coworker, Connor Riley. Connor, let's dive right in. We got to talk to Georgia center Jared Wilson today, who apparently is faster than some defensive backs on the team. We don't know who. What did you hear from him, and what does Georgia need from him?
Yeah, Kirby Smart and Jared Wilson didn't want to embarrass anybody, naming any names, but Jared Wilson, by all accounts, is a different type of athlete that Georgia's had in the center position. But I think in replacing Sedrick Van Pran, who 3-year starter, 2-time captain, one of the most respected players to ever play for Kirby Smart, he understands that he's got massive leadership shoes to fill. And he's not an overly vocal guy. He said as much today. So he's going to be someone who lets his play do the talking. And based on what guys like Tate Ratledge, Kirby Smart have had to say, this is a guy who's waited his turn and is expected to do very big things for Georgia this fall.
Here's Smart on what Wilson brings to the table, and Wilson on where that speed comes from.
I'm excited for the rest of the world to get to see Jared Wilson. This is a guy that, number one, is I don't put a lot of high expectations on people and anoint people. He has a lot to do to be the best player he can be. But when you talk about athleticism at the center position, his numbers, extremely athletic, over 300 pounds, can get to the second level as quick as anybody, just really athletic. So he's had the great fortune of learning from Sed. Unfortunately, that's not a position that you rotated at a ton, so he didn't get a lot of opportunities to go and play like maybe a Mims or a Dylan Fairchild. They got to go in the game and play. He didn't get an opportunity to do a lot of those things, but he is a really, really good athlete, an even better person.
I don't really talk about this a lot, but I played soccer growing up most of my childhood, so I really feel like the athleticism came from that. Bringing it over to the center position, I feel like is really unique. You know, watching film, you see really athletic guys, but like, you know, I kind of watch myself and it's like, it's a tad bit faster, you know, so.
Okay, another guy with big shoes to fill this fall, tight end Oscar Delp. I feel like we already kind of know that Delp has what it takes to step up.
Yeah, we saw Oscar Delp in a bigger role last year when Brock Bowers missed those games against Missouri and Florida, had a touchdown catch in that win over Missouri. And he's understood that, you know, life without Brock Bowers is coming, but he's trained so hard just trying to keep up with Brock Bowers that's made it easier for this transition without him. He's now the leader in this tight end room, a guy that they know can expect a lot out of. The guy's a more physical player than Brock Bowers, but just because Brock Bowers is moving on, Georgia still has some really strong players in that tight end room led by Oscar Delp.
Here's Delp on kind of having the keys to the tight end room this year.
Kind of taking the things I've learned from my freshman and sophomore year and watching Brock and Darnell practice and just kind of the standard that we hold here and kind of really just, you know, making sure you're at the front of every line and kind of giving you all every rep you take out there, and whether it's Indy or in a team run period or anything, and just kind of, you know, being coachable and things like that. Yeah, it's crazy. I remember right when I got here my first spring and how crazy that is for a freshman to go through. So I kind of know what all those guys are going through and how they're feeling. But it's definitely it's different to be on the other side of things finally.
Okay, so Delp also said that quarterback Carson Beck really knows that this is his offense now, no question. Smart did mention that Beck is using this spring to generate chemistry with different receivers. As good as Beck was last year, what can he do this fall, and how do you get that chemistry with kind of new guys?
Yeah, they bring in 3 wide receivers from the transfer portal, running back Trevor Etienne, a lot of positive chatter about him. Carson is now the unquestioned leader on this offense. This time a year ago was trying to win that starting quarterback job and yet to go out and prove what he could do at an SEC level against SEC competition. Shined a season ago. It's all about getting 1% better each day. That's a common phrase you hear around this program. So little things, being a little bit sharper, being a little bit of more of a leader. There are really high expectations on Carson Beck, but for as much as people might have and expect of Beck this fall, he has even higher expectations for himself.
We got to talk to 2 linebackers Tuesday, Jalen Walker and Chaz Chambliss. Now, Georgia did lose Jamon Dumas-Johnson, a.k.a. Pop. How do you assess Georgia's linebacker room this spring?
Yeah, I think the inside linebacker room might be the best position on Georgia's team in terms of talent, and that's including Small London, who was out this spring with a foot injury. They have plenty of talent, guys like C.J. Allen and Raylan Wilson, who played a lot at the end of last year, a lot of highly recruited players. And we talked to a guy, Jalen Walker, today, who is as polished as a person as I think we've gotten a chance to speak to, an incredible leader for this program. but a guy who can't just play inside linebacker, but will also bump out and play outside linebackers. He led Georgia in sacks last year. So they have talented guys, they have versatile guys, they have guys that can do it all. And it's a really strong position. And you look at Georgia's best teams, the ones that have won national championships, been led by their inside linebacker.
Here's Walker and Chambliss on how the linebackers are viewing this spring and what they want to get better at.
With the young group we have, we're just learning every day, learning to adjust to each other, learning just about each other, then, for the young guys, helping those guys out just to know and learn defense. So the spring ball is all about learning, and just for the young room, it's a great opportunity for us.
I think I had great leaders in front of me that taught me how to lead. Nolan, Bill, all those guys, they just taught me what it meant to be a leader in that room. It's not necessarily just being over controlling, but being somebody that the guys can look to as advice. Giving them advice that they might not otherwise have, that comes with experience. And, just trying to take over that room and hold everybody accountable to what the standard of the room is.
Okay, the first scrimmage of spring will be Saturday. He's Connor Riley, Dog Nation. I'm Sarah Spencer, AJC Sports.